Players would make that a very exciting tournament. Let's get into map number 1 on New Repugnancy.
And here we are, New Repugnancy LE. In the bottom left-hand corner, our Zerg player in game number 2. In the blue,
Chivo, RagnaroK.
Really a fan of his play lately, to be honest.
Yeah, he has been showing some great stuff. The qualifiers that I cast of him were so much fun to watch. He was putting on a good show. And in the top right-hand corner, in the red,
Jin Green Wings, SOS.
Right, of course, SOS, you know, this guy, like we said, he can win the tournament, he can go out in last place in the tournament. Moral of the story is that buildings don't cost supply. Tasteless quote, all right.
There are enough tasteless quotes to fill every sign in this room twice over.
Yeah.
So, check this out here. RagnaroK taking that third expansion. Looks like he may have been driven out by a probe there in the natural.
Yeah, that's pretty normal from SOS, right? He wants to just mess with you pretty much the entire game. That's part of his MO. He's historically been the player that pro gamers least want to play against because of things like this, you know?
Completely unpredictable some days. It's so cool to see these two players who both have these really unique styles going up against each other. You know, in the last game, I think a lot of us expected maybe Bomber to play a pretty straight-up game, but this game, both guys able to mix it up just a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm kind of sitting here looking forward to seeing what SOS is going to bring us because, you know, with all the Immortal Sentry timings and everything,
right?
He was actually the first person in Korea to really start busting that out.
Was he really?
He was, yeah. Myself and No Regret did we really looked deeply into it on In Depth, and he was the very first Korean player in these pro tournaments to start busting out Immortal pushes again.
Be darned.
And he kind of kicked that off out here. So
he's the one responsible for all the Protoss balance winding on the forums, is what you're telling me.
Well, at least in Korea, I would say so. He started that train, but the thing is, he's always a step ahead on the metagame.
Okay.
So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, what is SOS going to do? And that's a Stargate. That's not a robotics.
When you say step ahead of the metagame, this is what you're talking about. Stargate, I feel like I've been seeing less and less this season. Is it going to make a comeback here? What is SOS doing?
Well, I feel like it should. Like, Dark, you know, this is something that I really thought was going to happen in the finals, that we were going to see a lot more Stargate play, and we actually did. Because Zergs are starting to figure out how to be very aggressive against these Immortal timings and everything, and they're starting to mess with them. The win rate of it's going far down. And here we see even SOS with that Stargate. So what is he going to bring out? I don't know exactly with this Stargate, but excited to see.
Yeah, I think I caught one of the little bits of you and No Regret talking on In Depth about Stargate and how it can be so frustrating to play against Zerg. You get that first Oracle out, and when that scout happens, or even if you count the gas correctly, the Oracle gets 2 kills, and then it's the end of the day.
It's very true. That's exactly how many kills it gets every time.
It's going to be Phoenix first, followed by Twilight.
Yeah, what is that actually all about? The Twilight follow-up. Now, that is a little bit interesting, right? Because a lot of times you go Stargate into Archon drop, but normally you go Robo because you're going to go for High Templar Archon drop, and the Templar Archives doesn't take as long as the Dark Shrine, so not exactly sure what SOS's plan is here, but who is other than SOS, really?
What's the famous quote from the American general where your enemies can't know your plan if you yourself don't know what it is?
Is that a general's quote?
I believe so, or at least the internet has led me to believe that.
I say that all the time on my stream. I'm like, if this idiot doesn't know what he's doing, how do I know?
I'm sure Twitch chat is going to roast us now. I feel like it was Rommel or one of those guys who said, you know, if you don't know your plan, then your enemy certainly can't as well.
That's amazing.
Glaives!
Okay. That's a fair opening, right? You can put on some pressure with these Glaives. Now, will he do a heavy Sentry Immortal follow-up? That's pretty popular.
That's going to get caught out there. That's a shame.
Yeah. Got to be careful about that. You really want to kind of hit that critical mass. Of course, he's hiding the Adepts as far back as possible. He doesn't want RagnaroK to see the overall count, because then you know exactly what's going on.
Of course, you count those 7, 8 Adepts and you go, ha, this is what's going on. But yeah, doing a really good job here, SOS, able to keep those hidden back. Let's see, Phoenix going to scout in here. Not much to see, though, on the Zerg side of the map.
No, he doesn't have a lot going on. There is a Roach Warren on the way, but a little bit late to block these Adepts. Let's see what type of damage can get done.
Yeah, Zerglings against a lot of Adepts here. Glaive just a couple seconds away from finishing up. This could be a pretty promising timing here from SOS.
Yeah, if he can start killing off a decent amount of drones here and follow this up with a nice Sentry Immortal timing push, that's the dream as Protoss in this situation.
Absolutely. When you're on 2 base, you've got to get the damage done now and then just follow it up with something like that. But a lot of Lings have now popped out for RagnaroK.
Ooh, kind of a nice split there from RagnaroK. He's going to come in and surround these Adepts. Let's see how many he can get. There's going to be another Shade here in just a moment. The Queen's coming in as well.
A lot of damage going down on these Adepts who are kind of pinned up against a corner here. Looks like 3, 4, only 4 of them going to get away in that Shade, I think. 5. But
Just
man,
barely
3
so.
health on that thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so that was a beautiful defense. For Ling only, that was a beautiful defense.
Exactly what RagnaroK needed to do here. Coax those Adepts down, think they can trick SOS into thinking he can get some damage done on that 3rd, and then bringing that lower flank from the south. But we see 5 gates going up behind this, a lot of sentries coming in, and it's almost like you know this game and you've played it once or twice, Artosis.
Yeah. This is a deadly push, right? And it should be going in towards the 3rd. The creep spread is not up there yet. He can attack from the high ground. RagnaroK's creep spread through the middle is amazing, so maybe he can get some sort of flank going onto this, but this is rather all in from SOS. You don't have a lot you can do after this push, so he needs the damage.
And RagnaroK has not seen this yet. He has no creep spread up on the high ground. So here we go. SOS going to drop a couple force fields, picking off some of those Ravagers here. 1 Ravager, and then, maybe 2 are going to go down there. That Ravager with a little bad pathing there. And a nice little cleanup there from SOS. This is a good start.
Yeah, SOS's push so far doing very well. That is a rough first engagement from RagnaroK. He had the right idea, get out there and engage it before it gets too close, but SOS snapping the neck of those Ravagers with his force fields. More Warpins coming.
And you called it the Ling wraparound from the back there, coming off that creep spread that he had, but it's not just going to do enough. There's no way he has enough units to pin those. Oh my gosh, look at that. A little shade up here into the natural. 5 drones already going down.
Yeah, kind of interesting. He chose to let that shade finish right away. Now he comes in once again to the 3rd base. Now, he might lose a lot of those Adepts, but how many drones is he going to get?
This is beautiful from SOS, I think. Distracting his opponent. He knows that RagnaroK doesn't have critical mass to really engage him here on one front, so he splits his army up onto 2 different fronts here, and is going to be able to pick off a lot. He still has those Adepts cranking away the natural. 25 drones!
Oh my god, the damage is just so big. I don't think there's much left here for RagnaroK. His supply has been doubled at this point.
And there it is, the GG, and SOS going to take game number 1.
Very, very nicely done from SOS. The thing is, I think RagnaroK defended the first Adept attack amazingly. That was really well done.
Absolutely, he did. Unfortunately, SOS just had that timing down, had that build really, really solid. Able to follow it up with exactly what we thought he was going to, and really making that next push work.
Yeah, it's too bad as well that RagnaroK ran up the ramp just as SOS was ready for him, right? Those first 2 Ravagers falling right off the bat. RagnaroK had the right type of idea. You want to kind of make them use force fields further back, but he ran up. But it was like an anti-timing when he went up the ramp.
Exactly. He had his units set up for a brilliant split, almost able to capture those units, trap them up against the Zerglings in the back, use those Zerglings as nothing more than Zerg force fields. But he really wasn't able to make it work. You're right. He just didn't quite have the DPS to pick those apart. Bad timing. Going to lead to an SOS victory here. What are you feeling for game number 2?
Well, you know what? This is more of a macro map Thunderbird. It's much harder to do one of these pushes and kill your opponent off. You kind of have your 3 bases on a high ground area. So I'm feeling the game's going to go a bit longer and RagnaroK's going to have a better shot.
Absolutely. Now, Thunderbird, a relatively new map. Game is ready, though. Let's get into it, and then we'll tell you all about this map.
Fight!
Here we are on Thunderbird LE, match number 2 of the day. Game 2 it is.
RagnaroK.
It's hard to hold on against some of those sharp timing attacks, no doubt about it.
No matter how sharp you are yourself as a player. And RagnaroK's opponent in the bottom right-hand corner.
Jin Green Wings, SOS.
SOS coming to play today. He wants that BlizzCon spot.
I tell you what, these guys, I was looking up before the tournament today. BlizzCon, these guys are 200 points away from each other for WCS points. That is a razor's edge. These guys going to be fighting it out to the death. I think it's no secret that Dark probably a clear favorite today. So these 2 guys, I think, are going to be just battling for that 2nd place spot. And this game, this match, is where it's all going to shake out.
Yeah, that's actually really important, especially when it's a player that's close to you in the ranking. Like that's a little fake from SOS.
Definitely.
It's a little bit cheeky. But, you know, when you're that close, if, for instance, like SOS advances and RagnaroK does not from this group, that makes SOS's chances of going to BlizzCon even larger because someone so close to him now is going to be way lower in the points.
Absolutely correct. And it's the end of the year now, Artosis. We're into July for the Starcraft season. That's more than halfway over.
Oh, absolutely. Like, this is the last GSL Code S season of the year, and then we have Super Tournament, right, which is less points. It's not a guaranteed spot or anything like that. So you already have to be pretty high up for the last Super Tournament to give you that edge.
Absolutely. Now, Thunderbird, our second map here, this is a new map as of Season 2 of this year. Is that correct?
Yes. It came in the ladder pool, of course, somewhat recently.
Right. I feel like players were afraid of this when it first came out. So many players with those mineral patches. I saw it vetoed day after day. I kept coming to the studio and I kept saying, maybe today I'm going to see Cobalt, Thunderbird, and Turbo Cruise.
I know.
But this was the second map for the qualifiers, actually. So every single player that made it through the qualifiers had to play this map dozens of times. Are the pros getting more comfortable with it? What makes it a more comfortable map?
Well, I think that they've gotten more comfortable now that you kind of understand when and where you want to remove these mineral patches, what type of situations that you want to open up the map on. Because if you just like erase the mineral patches and look at the map, well, it's pretty comfortable, really, right? You have your 3 bases in a very defensible area. It's kind of a big map overall as well. It's not that hard to get your 4th. It's a little bit open, but it's really not that hard. So overall, I think it's a pretty comfortable map for pro gamers.
I agree, and as you said, once you take out those mineral patches, it looks very familiar. At least when I look at the center of this map, I think King's Cove immediately.
Yeah,
there's those high
similar.
grounds in the middle, there's that valley that you got to push through in the middle. It creates really interesting offensive and defensive strategies with, are you going to store your army on those high grounds, open them up to a little bit of danger, or are you going to push right through the middle and hope that there's nobody waiting on the high ground for you?
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities with King's Cove. I actually think about that a lot because they are the 2 maps where the 3rd base, you kind of can take it and everything's safe. King's Cove has 2 ramps, though, and this only has 1, so it's even safer in a lot of ways.
What do you think about this Zealot charge timing?
Well, I mean, this is a hyper-aggressive build. Look at the probe count right now. It's not all that high. He hasn't been chrono boosting them all that much.
No question.
This is super deadly. If you have a late Roach Horn against this, if you don't have a Baneling Nest, you're just trying to defend this with Lings, you're in trouble.
What are we talking about? Look at that. DT coming down.
Okay, so yeah, a very interesting build here. I think what's going to happen is he's going to soften him up with those charge lots a little bit, and against that, obviously, Spore is the last thing that you want, so the DTs can really trick you at that point.
Absolutely, and now RagnaroK does have an Overlord waiting now in the south part of the map. He could possibly get in for a scout. If he scouts that DT Shrine in time, is he just going to be 100% safe?
Well, he's got to hold the Zealots as well, and don't forget, Archons can't come later. Oh, my God.
Go north, go north, go north, little buddy. What are you doing? Get out of the probe line. Go north. He's going to see it. There it is.
You go.
Scouted out completely by RagnaroK. How's he feeling right now?
He's definitely feeling a lot better about what's going on. The Prism's coming across. Hopefully he's making news. Yeah, look at that. 6 Roaches on the way.
Lair about to finish up. I imagine we'll see some Spore Crawlers probably, if they're not already down. I think I saw one going down earlier.
Definitely some Overseers should be made here as well, as that Dark Shrine is going to be finishing up. But he needs these Roaches first because the charge lots are coming in.
Already in his natural here. The charge lot's going to get on top of the mineral line. Is RagnaroK going to go straight for drones? No. Looks like the army of SOS going to get, the army of RagnaroK going to get in the way here. And these charge zealots not going to get any work on losing that Warp Prism as well. Oh my goodness gracious.
That's pretty huge. A lot of things have gone wrong for SOS in rapid succession here. Getting his Dark Shrine scouted and losing the Prism.
1 strike, 2 strikes.
Yeah.
What's strike number 3 for SOS? How can RagnaroK capitalize?
Well, he just did it. He just made 13 drones at once. The second the Prism died, he's like, all drones! Every larva, let's do it!
All of them, baby. It's the right call. Look at the worker count already in favor of RagnaroK, and that's about to continue to spiral up. So 10 drones ahead now at 5.5 minutes. The game, of course, nowhere close to over, though.
Yeah. Well, this is a situation where RagnaroK has the advantage, but SOS is a crafty player. He knows how to apply pressure. He's going to come over here right now, in fact, with these DTs. I don't think he's going to get much done, though, to be honest.
Roach is already on top to defend the natural there. That Warp Prism is going to get forced out immediately. SOS feeling confident enough to drop a Forge behind this back home.
Yeah, I think he realizes that there's no sort of timing attack that he's really capable of hitting. He doesn't really have sentries. He doesn't really have immortals. So if you don't have any of that, you may as well start your upgrades, right? At least you'll have +1 or +2 the next time you attack.
He's looking into the future like a witch. He's going to see that vision that this game is going to go to the mid game, and he's got to have something prepared for it.
That's
when
right.
he finally gets there, whether he's ahead or behind.
That's right. Only Witch is really able to prepare for the future.
Famously, witches.
Famously, yeah. The rest of us are just like animals, man. I don't know what time is. I don't know how old I am. It doesn't bother me. But there's a Spire on the way right now, which, by the way, totally love that. Oh my God, a Stargate coming up. Did he scout that Spire?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think he's had any units there to be able to scout the Spire.
I don't think so,
in the
right?
game. No, surely not.
So why would you make a Stargate right now?
That is a great question. Maybe he is also a witch looking into the future. Is this witch versus witch?
You could be right. I mean, if one of these players were a witch, it would be SOS.
How can you possibly justify that statement?
Are you kidding me? Do you watch SOS games?
You know what? You've sold me.
All
I think
right.
you're absolutely correct.
See, that's my best argument.
And
I'm just like, are you kidding me? Just agree with what I say.
Look at SOS's play. How is he not some sort? All right. So there it is. The scout definitely going to clarify for SOS what he's up against. We see the Baneling Nest on the way, 4th base on the way for RagnaroK as well, and SOS going with that +1, more Immortals, Photon Cannons.
Well, I like what RagnaroK is doing here, right? He's making a few mutas. A lot of times you'll see Blink come in, and if you go for like a mass Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager type of composition, and they've gone for those Stalkers, I feel like you're very, very much at an advantage as Zerg. But we don't really see the Stalkers. It looks like a very light anti-muta defense from SOS, which I think it's good for him. It gives him more of an opportunity to come back in this game.
It's so smart. Sometimes you will see these Protoss players panic when they see that Spire. Cannons everywhere, Stalkers all over the place, double Stargate, Phoenix, doing something crazy because they're worried about it. But SOS, I think, being very judicious, being very cautious, seeing only 6 mutas and saying, I've made the right call here.
Yeah, it really. Like, you don't see him rushing up and trying to get Phoenix range. He's not overproducing anything. You can make 4 or 5 Phoenixes and feel very good about it. Those are still going to be useful in certain ways. But he's not really skimping on the other defenses. He's really aware of the types of attacks that could be coming in.
Look, I gotta be honest, RagnaroK's supply massively ahead of SOS, but if you look at SOS's army, it looks very beefy.
Yeah.
Look at those Immortals. He's got a couple Stalkers that can lift up anything that comes after him. Even has +2 on the way.
Yeah, the one thing is that RagnaroK is not really dropping the ball. Like, he's trying to force SOS to play poorly. SOS ain't having it, but RagnaroK just moves to the next step. He's like, okay, Baneling speed. Okay, let's go into the Infestation Pit. I mean, there's a lot of things that he can do from here.
Absolutely, and 22 Lings and about as many Banelings is absolutely something he's able to do from this point forward.
Okay, so a Fleet Beacon coming up right now.
Okay, go on, sorry.
I wonder what that's for exactly. Like, I don't think he's going to stay on Phoenix. Like, I feel like he might go into Tempest or Carrier here. Not sure exactly why he wants to do that right now, but I guess we'll see.
As a Protoss player, what do you see in this army that might lead you to Tempest?
Well, maybe he thinks that he's just going to rush up into Broodlord, and then obviously you want the Tempest there. But
here it is. We see the Banelings already waddling forward here. RagnaroK jostling for position. The Phoenix, of course, going to be on top of this army to scout the whole thing. But RagnaroK, I don't think there's... It's like a Queen song. You ain't going to stop him now.
Yeah, look at that. A lot of Banelings coming up the ramp.
Nice force fields there. A couple Biles going to come down. And, here we go. Banelings rolling forward onto those Immortals, popping the shells. But there are just too many Banelings here. Shield batteries going down. Is RagnaroK getting the damage that he needs to get done here?
I think so. He has so much left over after the Banelings chew through everything. Look at that. The Immortals starting to fall, but some juggling happening here from SOS, starting to pick everything up with this Prism.
Able to save 3 of those Immortals. That's really nicely done by SOS. His War Prism was out of position early on, but he was able to scrap it back, and with those 3 Immortals shelling in the background, that's going to drive RagnaroK's army out of the way for now, but I don't think for very long.
Carriers in production. What a wild game. Like, first off, the fact that SOS lived through that, I'm impressed.
Right, let's start with 1A, he lived. 1B, hokey smokes, he lived.
Yeah, and then 1C, or are we on 2A now?
It's up to you.
Okay, let's go with C. He is going into carriers, right? So SOS is preparing for a much longer game. I feel like he's taking some slight risks. He's playing a very turtle position here. And obviously carriers like kind of counter what's out already. But if SOS is going to win this game, we are looking at like a 35-minute game with the map mined out, I feel like.
And I'm not sure he's going to last quite that long. We can see RagnaroK posturing up, adding on those Zerglings, going up to Greater Spire. He's even building some stat defenses back home. But yeah, RagnaroK, I think, doesn't want the game to get to that point. Now, he hasn't scouted the fleet beacon. I don't think he knows the carriers in production just yet, but it's only a matter of time before he learns that SOS going for that longer game. Will that force RagnaroK to strike earlier?
Well, he's starting to strike like a little bit. He denies the 4th base, which is really important on this map. Isn't that hard? And now he's going to come up and see these carriers.
Here we go. It looks like I've seen this attack before. Banelings rolling forward, coming through the force field there. The Immortals this time beset upon by the Banelings almost immediately. All the shield batteries going down. All that's left for our Protoss player now are 2 carriers and a handful of Phoenix, but the Corruptors are right behind it. A nice run by here, though, by SOS. Getting into that 4th base, going to pick off a couple of drones, but man, there's still a lot of army here for RagnaroK. But look at that. RagnaroK going to retreat once again, not comfortable, pushing forward.
Chases him back, and I mean, it's nice that there's some counter-harassment going on as well, but I just feel like SOS's support army, he has nothing really, right? Look at what he's got. He's like chasing away Corruptors with 2 carriers.
This is something I usually chastise the silver players that I cast. And I say, you can't just build the fun units. You've got to build the boring units underneath them as well to give you some power. But man, RagnaroK does have quite a bit back home. He's adding on those Corruptors. His Greater Spire has finished, so he can tech up to Broodlords if he wants them. I'm not sure that SOS... Well, is SOS getting more dangerous as the game goes on, or is he getting less dangerous?
Well, I feel like this entire time he's playing from a bit of a deficit, but he's staying ahead decision-wise to try to stay alive. But look at this. He's made the Archons to try to hold off these Corruptors, but he's going to lose these carriers, and with it, I feel like that's game.
At losing the carriers and the hope of living, but it's going to give us the hope to go to Game 3. RagnaroK taking Game number 2.
Yeah, that was really well done by RagnaroK. Beautiful scouting, like getting that Ling in, obviously, very important. Defending the rush, getting that first Prism. Like, he instantly knew what to do from there, and SOS, like, skirted the line, man. He barely stayed alive. He did everything he needed to try to make it a real game, but RagnaroK didn't let him back in.
It is rare to see a player who has half the supply of his opponent stay in the game for 10 more minutes. But if anybody can do it, it's our boy SOS.
I guess so, seriously. So very well done there. We're going to go into map 3 coming up, and I actually don't know who to favor. I feel like both these guys are playing phenomenally right now.
Have you got a coin in your pocket? We can flip. You can have RagnaroK heads.
Okay. You go with heads, and I'll go with tails. I actually don't carry coins, so I don't.
I don't either. Flip my credit card, baby.
There you go.
It's 2019. Map 3
Flip
gonna
a Mountain Dew bottle.
Oh yeah, I gotta get one of those. Map 3 gonna be Acropolis, which nobody wanted to play.
No, that's the last map. Let's do it. Map number 3.
Second match of the day, game number 3 in the bottom right-hand corner. In the blue,
Chivo, RagnaroK.
Just, again, phenomenal play that last game. I'm so impressed. Just all of his decisions, his attacks, beautiful.
Absolutely, and his opponent in the top left-hand corner in the red.
Jin-Air Greenwings, SOS.
Of course, I love what SOS tried to recover with there. Like, he did just enough to stay alive and tried to get into that air army. He was just trying to absorb attacks. Oh my god, yes. Everything we say doesn't matter.
Man, I was about to start talking about how happy I was that SOS didn't GG out, but nothing matters. Here we go. How many cannons are we going to see, Artosis?
3.
3.
Let's go with 3.
I like that. I'm going to stick with it. Probe immediately getting scouted and drop. Ooh.
Now, let's not forget, he primed him with this.
He did last game.
That's right.
Faked him out.
You fake the pylon the one game, and then you do it the next game. SOS is just the trickiest, brainiest player that there is.
Where is that Carl Sagan gif of him exploding his brain with all the IQ, only one drone picking away at that pylon? That's not going to be enough.
No, more coming down. So he kind of is sniffing this out because the pylon finished. Very smart play from RagnaroK. Seems like he's watched a few SOS games, but hold on, he's going to start throwing up cannons.
Oh, man, one goes down. Second one is blocked there. SOS probably not the exact placement he wanted on those cannons, but that second cannon placement really good there, sealing up that mineral line, giving him some more space to play around, and having 2 probes in his opponent's natural is invaluable right now.
So the hatchery finishes. I mean, Lings are on the way. This is very interesting what we're watching here. Another drone has snuck out, but a probe is actually trying to deny the hatchery there.
Now
I mean, these cannons finished, right? The hatchery dies, right?
Absolutely. I think what RagnaroK is going to do is sack this natural hatchery and try to do some one-place play, or possibly get a third up, give up the natural, and hope to connect those later, but that's going to put him on such a disadvantageous position.
Right? Yeah, it seems like SOS has been successful with this overall. He's slowing down that additional base. I guess RagnaroK will be able to take it because his drone is still alive out there.
Yeah, pylon block at the third going to slow him down even more. A lot of times what we'll see is Zerg players who will just give up the natural, go straight for the third, and then connect later, give up those cannons once they've got roaches or spine crawlers on the map or something. But RagnaroK being so delayed here, that's got to set him back.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. This is rough for him, I would say, right now. Looks like that cannon going to be attacked from the high ground, so SOS does throw down another pylon to make sure that some of those cannons stay powered.
Yeah, but not overcommitting to this, and that's one thing I love here. SOS knows that it's game 3. This is not like where he's got a one-game advantage and he can just, start throwing cannons in the main, start dropping whatever he wants. He's got to be a little bit careful about how he continues his play here. And we already see Cybercore back home, pumping out, adding some of the probes on here, not going 100% all in behind this cannon rush.
He's really not all in, this is kind of a macro build. Like, he's killed the hatchery, and he's screwed up the Zerg like he likes to do, hatchery blocks, fake cannon rushes, real cannon rushes, whatever. But he's just going into normal play from here, and the Robo.
It's the SOS-iest game I've ever seen.
Right under that Overlord, too. He wants him to see it. He's like, this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me.
Don't get no respect. So the transfer of the drones, going to be fine. And there it is, Roachborn going down now for RagnaroK, who's got to break out of this contain, because a Zerg on 2 bases is a Zerg who's not going to be on 2 bases for very long.
Yeah, right? And especially when there's going to be a rush coming in like this.
Christmas.
Minimum the Prism, and your bases are so far apart, even just light harassment from a Prism can be hard to hold on against.
Absolutely, especially on a map like Acropolis, where that rush distance between the natural and the third is pretty significant. No creep connecting him just yet. He is moving 1 creep tumor down there. But man, look at that. 2 pylons, 3 cannons. This is still difficult to break. This is not as simple as a queen shelling away at the top of the main here.
It takes a while to clean that up. It's very annoying indeed. Now, the Overlord getting out of here while the getting is good.
RagnaroK needs every last Overlord he can save this game. He can't afford to lose anything extraneous. We see him going up to Lair Tech right away.
I wonder what his plan is with this Lair Tech, actually. I'm kind of excited to see.
Is he going to Nidus him back to re-cheese the cheeser?
Do you try a Nidus here when they're going for that Immortal Tech? I mean, are you just going for, like, Roach speed? Is Aspire a possibility?
Oh, man, the possibilities are truly endless. I have seen some players go Nidus into the main, wait until the Immortals are on the map, and then try and make the Protoss flinch. Try and make them say, uh-oh, there are roaches in my main, there are Zergs in my main. I gotta defend something because I'm going to lose this base trade. And RagnaroK is a player who could certainly have the chutzpah to pull that off.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've seen some really crazy games, and SOS is the type of player that could pull something like that off, but oh my god, do you see that?
I see it. It's an Overlord poop and creep.
Could that be more handsome? Like where that is, that's near SOS's base.
Never gonna see it. 100% never gonna see it. I'm calling it.
Yeah, this is so awesome. I just love what I'm seeing here. The fact that he's hidden it there, it's just. I love it. It's like he's playing like SOS against SOS.
Beautiful, but SOS is also playing like SOS, and that's the problem. He's got an Immortal up, adding on the Twilight and a couple more gateways.
Okay, let's see what he gets done with this harassment. A couple queens here in the main. There's a Ravager back there as well. Starts to go down on this queen and has to pull out for now.
Yeah, good micro by SOS to save that stuff. What Artosis is the point of bringing along those 2 sentries with the Immortal? What are they supposed to do in a wide open, dropping him in the middle of the main like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you can force field the queen, try to trap him. Sometimes if you go behind the mineral patches, you'll be able to trap a couple drones. They're just units that he has he doesn't need at home, so why not?
Sure, that makes absolute sense. Zealot Charge going to be the follow-up here from SOS.
Well, how many units does he have that hit up? Is it like those 2 sentries in the Prism? Do 2 sentries counter 5 mutas, or...
Let me do some math on the back of an envelope here. Hold on. Wait. No.
Oh, okay. What if they have a shield battery, though?
Wait. Still no.
Okay. So, right now, it looks like this Mutalist play is a very good call. There's like 1 Stalker at home.
Scouting Phoenix going to get in and see it, though.
Well, he hasn't seen the Spire, so he has to see him hatch.
That's right. There. Okay, he does. Beautiful. Whoa. Did he see? Was his?
Now I don't know if he did see that because he kind of saw everything. Normally you go back to your base.
I didn't see him click the Scouting Phoenix again, so I'm not 100% sure if he did or not.
This could
be really dangerous.
He's not making extra cannons or shield batteries, so definitely he did not see it.
Twilight Council only about halfway done.
God!
No! Oh, the Immortal Immortal goes down. Look at his face.
SOS in some trouble right now.
That poor human being. That is a crippling loss.
Well, I mean, he cannon rushed into an Immortal push, so I don't think you're going to get many people agreeing with you that he's a poor human being. But yeah, let's see if he can hold off these mutas.
I meant in that small instance.
Okay.
You're absolutely right, yeah.
You have a lot of empathy. It's a nice thing to see.
I'm sure as I cast more, I'll lose that empathy over time, right? You see the players more as just talent. Yeah, as you said earlier, though, a couple Stalkers now warped in to try and shoot upwards against these Mutalisks. The Mutalisks going to clear out 6, make it 7, make it 8 maybe probes?
They've done very well so far. And don't forget, he's forcing Stalkers. He killed the Prism and the Immortal, the 2 sentries. This is looking very nice for RagnaroK right now. He's getting into his 3rd base, and look at that Lurker tech next.
Finding his footing and really aggressively pushing forward with a bold strategy. Now, Storm is on the way. Will SOS have enough time to get Templars out, to get Storm out, to defend against these Lurkers if they're at his main base in time?
Yeah, I think he's going to live. I think the game goes on. But what I'm looking at here is a situation where RagnaroK can either continue to tech up and expand, or he can attack, whereas SOS doesn't have those 2 options. It's more like, okay, let's get into our Psy Storm, keep building our army. I don't feel like he has any real potential for an attack coming up.
Less flexibility is what you're saying from a Protoss player.
Yeah. He's got the tendons of a 90-year-old right now. He's like, this is not going to be easy for him to put any pressure on.
Oh, Infestation Pit down. As the Lurker Den gets closer and closer to finishing, we do see a lot of Hydralisks on the map now as RagnaroK starts to build up that army. So look at the army supply here, 80 to only about 45.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's very heavily Roach. So, a lot of times you got to look at that and be like, oh, he's got 400 army supply. I'm like, yeah, but it's all Roaches, so don't worry about it.
But no, a couple Roaches mixed in there, which is nice. I like to see the extra HP from those Roaches, giving a lot of power for those to soak up those Immortal shots and really let the Hydralisks do their damage in the back. It's going to force RagnaroK to make some really tough choices about his positioning, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, right now he's trying to decide what is next. He's taking his 4th base. He's kind of pushing out a little bit, right? We see him walking around.
Tentatively moving off that creep.
Yeah. Is he going to just go and do a full-on attack? Because he's teching up and expanding. He's kind of doing everything, and I get a bit nervous at that point, right? If you are teching, expanding, and attacking all at once, and you Lurkers are a siege unit. You got to have a lot of units around them to make them work correctly. Are you doing too much?
Yes,
so
right.
Is he supposed to attack right now?
Yeah, RagnaroK going to feel stretched like butter over too much bread here. He's taking that 4th base at the 2 o'clock position, straight up the north, straight up that east side of the map.
Yeah.
What do you think about that expansion position? Surely more Zerg players would be confident taking that position at the 7 o'clock, or the 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It looks like he's going to take that one now as well.
Okay.
I feel like it's just further from Protoss, so maybe that's why he took it right away, right? His Lurkers can kind of stay on that high ground creep spread from his 1st to his 3rd and just run back and forth and mirror the army to defend. So it feels like a reasonably safe base, even though his bases are very spread out.
Now, 6 Immortals, 6 High Templar, a sprinkling of Gateway units. Is that all the ingredients you need for a recipe that will destroy the Zerg player?
You know what? If the Lurkers are not sitting defensively, I would say, yeah, this is getting to be a very scary army right here. But when those Lurkers actually burrow, it's going to get a lot harder to clear that. So as we see, SOS going to back up when RagnaroK comes up to engage.
A couple little storms that don't do a whole lot of damage there. Now nice little run by here by RagnaroK, who's going to definitely be able to force a cancel here on that 4th base of SOS. That's got to be painful as his opponent's on 5 bases.
Yeah.
But now look at this. I think SOS has been driven back home. I was really curious to ask you, we see those Lurkers from RagnaroK being split up into 2 almost groups, 2 battalions of Lurkers, one to protect the 4th. Oh, hold on just a minute. Roach is here going to try and do a little bit of damage here, but they are getting pushed away at the 3rd base. So RagnaroK doing some splitting up those Lurkers to defend his 4th and also defend against the push here. He has successfully pushed SOS back, but as a Zerg player, do you feel confident splitting your army like that?
That's where it gets a little bit risky, right? Like if we had this army roaming plus a Warp Prism poking in various locations, I feel like that could be a break. But we don't have that right now.
We don't, and we already see Zealots causing trouble, making some mayhem up at the 4th base. Both players doing a good job of splitting their armies and sort of keeping them separate here, putting pressure in as many places as they possibly can.
And look at that. RagnaroK's reactions are just very quick here.
Do you see the production tab for SOS?
Oh, God. Carriers once again. Let's do it.
Look to the right of the carriers.
The mothership.
Do you recognize that unit at all?
I heard it was going to be broken on this patch. I haven't seen it yet. We'll see if he uses that Time Warp ability or not.
What year is it? I love this so much.
Well, you know what? He's going to need that pretty quickly because these Broodlords coming out counter that army viciously. Like, this army can't really stand up against Broodlords, but he does have those Stargates coming, like you said.
Absolutely. A couple Stargates now on the way. I think one a little bit ahead, but yeah, second one on the way. Should see a second carrier in production quite soon, up to hopefully 3 carriers at a time for SOS, which I think he can support once he gets that 4th base up. Might be a little slow, but the Broodlord army and Lurkers getting dangerously close here, forcing SOS into an engagement that he doesn't really want to take. A nice Zealot run by there into the 4th base, but look at this. SOS already getting pushed back as the Broodlings begin to rain down on that army.
Well, as long as he can save most of his High Templar, I think he's still okay for now. Those High Templar are just absolutely crucial right now.
And look at those Lurkers bearing down. They want that kill so bad. RagnaroK has got blood in his eyes here. The Lurker's getting a really nice position here by the 4th base. Gonna split up that army and force SOS even further back up the ramp into his natural.
Yeah, I think he just straight up loses his 4th base once again. But
it's gotta be painful.
Yeah, at least he's getting like a decent army at this point. But can he hold on against this push? This push is so scary for his ground units.
This is like the push you see on the back of the box art for Legacy of the Void. Lurkers, Broodlords, Hydralisks, everything you could possibly want, even clearing up that debris to widen that ramp for a better engagement.
All right, trying to come up right now. He has so many Lurkers here to siege. That Adaptive Talon's really going to help him out as well. Beautiful Psy Storms going down on the Hydras, though. If he can clear that anti-air, the carriers can do the rest of the work.
Absolutely. Once those Hydralisks are gone, the ticking time bomb begins, and SOS has complete control of the map to wipe away his opponent little by little over time.
Yeah, I think he's done a great job as well with some of this little harassment that we see on the side at that 4th base, kind of abusing the fact that this is a slow-moving army from RagnaroK. But look at RagnaroK pull back. I think that this is a hard move for a lot of Zergs to make, but beautifully done by RagnaroK.
A hard move, but the right move. You're absolutely correct. So often we see Zerg players get confident with these armies. They're like, I've got Broodlords and Lurkers. How could I possibly die against this?
The answer is Psy Storm, going up a ramp.
Exactly the right answer is Psy Storm going up a ramp. But RagnaroK showing that he has a lot of discipline, backing away from that fight and saying, I can't take this now. Building a second Spire even to get those upgrades cranked out twice as fast.
Yeah, and we just saw again, you know, the Greater Spire is that Spire up at the top of the map.
Unscouted.
You were right. He's just never going to find it.
Chips on the table. That's like a ninja base on one of those 4-player maps. Just build it. It'll never happen.
That is so funny, too, because imagine if he had caught that when the Greater Spire was making. Oh, my God.
Totally different game, but SOS got to feel confident now. Pushing past. He's taking that 4th base now. It's interesting. Both these players, getting their expansions up each the west side and the east side of the map, not expanding toward the center. Is that because they know their opponent has a slow-moving army and they want to stay as far away as possible?
I feel like it is. That's definitely a part of it, at least. And, you know, the thing is, you can try to abuse things like that with Warp Prisms, with Niduses. We haven't seen the Warp Prism play yet from SOS, I think because he's been a little bit behind. It's hard to afford.
Sure.
But the Nidus play coming in, I love to see this from RagnaroK.
I didn't see what was loaded up into that Nidus. I'm not sure it'll matter. The Nidus not going to finish here, so a nice defense there by SOS. Another Nidus going down, it looks like just for movement for RagnaroK, to have some more access, maybe to the corner of the map, or even just psych SOS out a little bit. There's a Nidus and you don't know where it is.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well. It's so cheap. Just throw the exits everywhere at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Void Race on the way now as well.
That's kind of interesting, he's saying the Void Rays. Maybe he thinks there's going to be masses of Corruptors at that point. Like, we saw that one. They also are decent at removing Niduses, I guess, but an interesting choice from SOS.
This is cute. More pressure on the 4th base for SOS. RagnaroK doing a good job keeping his opponent busy, keeping his opponent on the back foot. This slow-moving Golden Armada with the motherships and the carriers coming across, going to take a long time to respond to that, giving him just enough time to put some pressure on that base. But he's going to lose a lot of Lurkers and not get a lot for his money.
Yeah, that's a very clear cleanup right there from SOS. I guess the Lurkers aren't as important right now.
Right.
Especially considering we see what he's making. He's going up to over 20 Infestors at this point.
Goodness gracious.
Getting Neural, just focusing on upgrades as well. We're really getting into one of those crazy late games, and this feels to me like a game that this could go 40 minutes.
Beautiful.
Okay? I hope you went to bathroom before the cast.
I did not, and I was about to make that joke, so thanks for calling me out on it. Oh, I shouldn't have had that coffee before we started. Okay, so wow, you said 20 Infestors on the map already? Or I guess 10
believe we're up to like 22 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got Neuroparasite as well. This is, dig in, fellas. We're going to be here for a while.
Well, this is the type of army that you can just grind with for days. Obviously, you can get a very strong army as Protoss as well. I think most people right now feel like this part of the game is slightly Zerg favored. And I mean, it's going to be hard. When you see that many Infestors and you can't just kill them with mass feedbacks in 2 seconds, you know, it turns out it gets a little bit more difficult.
A little bit more difficult indeed. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. I feel like both players have a distinct defender's advantage here with their army. Slow-moving, high DPS. Neither of them is really... Oh, my God, he missed it. Get it. Oh, no.
The
that
edge
patrol,
of the
you
creep.
can barely
You'll never
see the creep.
You'll never see it. It's not going to.
So both players, again, I think with a distinct defender's advantage here, neither one wants to attack into the other one. What do you do when you see yourself on the cusp of a 40-minute game? As pick your favorite Zerg or Protoss player. What do you do to say, okay, I've got 30 minutes to figure out a way to garner an advantage here? What can you really do to put yourself in a positive position to win when these two huge armies eventually crash into each other?
Well, I think that what you want to do as the Zerg player is not let him hit your fringes, and we see that with all the creep colonies, all the spore colonies. I mean, the spores, the spines up at the top right. He doesn't want that harassment on the sides because that's where Protoss, I feel like, has to do it. For Zerg, this push is it. Mass spores, mass creep, bring your whole army up behind it. I feel like that is the way you do it. Eventually, you're going to force those engagements, and they feel a little bit Zerg favored then.
I lose my caster credentials. You're never going to invite me back to the GSL. The Greater Spire has been scouted.
I am going to kick you down a well like we're in Sparta, okay? Because you should have known this was going to be a 40-minute game, and eventually the whole map would be seen.
Is he going to pick off that upgrade? It's going to be real close. He's going to get it, though, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Ah, what a shame. We see immediately another Spire going up back home for RagnaroK, and DT Blink on the way for SOS. Is he just doing it for the memes, just so Reddit can upvote him a couple times?
Well, I think, again, you're trying to get some harassment on the sides done as SOS, and DT Blink, the thing is, if you save one DT one time with DT Blink, it's paid for itself.
Absolutely.
So there is absolutely no reason not to get it in a big game.
It reminds me of Marauder Concussive Shell when we see a Terran who doesn't get it 30 minutes in the game.
Seriously.
What are you doing?
You can only have Forgotten. It's a good upgrade. Get it.
You get Neo Steel Frame before you get Concussive Shell.
I'm going mech. I'm not making rush. Still get it.
Come on, man. So RagnaroK doing a pretty good job of responding to this and really cleaning this up, and I feel like he's got to stay on his toes. These are some of those skill checks that we talk about a lot. It's not like a micro skill check like raising a supply depot on time, but one of those scouting and awareness skill checks where he's saying, I'm going to keep pressuring you time and again. You've got to always be ready.
Yeah, look, I actually love the way that SOS did this, and RagnaroK's taking it very seriously, trying to clean it, but the fact that he left a high Templar there, I've actually never seen that. I've seen these little squads where you put a couple of mortals on the side, you don't need them in your main army, the charge lots obviously, but to have a high Templar there to help against those Hydras, that was actually a beautiful little squad of units from SOS.
Not a mistake from SOS then. Nice. I like when you see that kind of play where somebody does something a little bit innovative. Speaking of innovative, an Oracle. Just for the revelations?
Oh, yeah. I think that's beautiful. Like, you want to keep track. Where are those infestors? They're generally burrowed. Where are the broods? Maybe you can start hitting things from range if you know that you're in a safe area. So I think it's always good to get a couple of those later on in the game.
I think you're absolutely correct. I think if we're honest with ourselves, that's one of those seriously undervalued skills that we see that really separates, a good player from a great player, where a great player is able to find the value and realize, hey, this Oracle's not going to do anything, but those revelations are going to pay for themselves 10 times over.
Absolutely, it is. Like, if you see the units, if you can do that for the long term. I mean, I know it doesn't last as long as it used to, but it's still such a useful spell.
Another little strike force coming out here for SOS. Going to be immediately driven away by that spine crawler forest.
That is a lot of spines. Like, I love that RagnaroK has devoted so much to that because that would be the one weak spot on this map. His army is more towards the center. The creep spray at the bottom is fantastic, and he's got that great spine force at the top. So RagnaroK is just playing a magnificent late game.
Here we go, man. I'm feeling some tingles. We see those two big blobs of red and blue coming at each other. The first neuroparasite has gone down, and that Archon is not long for this world.
We got a scorpion maneuver right there. Get over here.
Beautiful. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me, right?
Yeah. I love that, though, just picking off the one unit. I mean, we're in that portion of the game where it is very likely the map could get mined out, and every single piece of resource matters. So even sniping one Archon at this point, you might look and be like, dude, he's got 4K gas bank. He won't forever, guys. This game is going in that direction. So it's awesome to see him just snag whatever he can. You'll see him try to snag the Oracle when it comes in for a revelation, anything.
Anything to not only destroy the gas bank of your opponent, sort of wear down their forces a little bit, but also put them on the back foot. But here we go. SOS going to push down into that fourth base here, attacking into the spine crawlers. Hydralis with this nice storms there on the top. But looks like there's going to be enough Hydralis here to push this away. And with no Prism to micro those things away, I think RagnaroK's going to successfully defend as he also puts pressure on the fifth base of SOS here. Brood Lords have been revelated, but the cannons not quite going to have the range here to do it. And oh my goodness, a sea of infested Terrans pop out. This fourth base better bend over and start to pray.
Yeah, I think that base is pretty much done. So with that many infested Terrans coming out, you're going to have to give that up. He pulls his probes away. A smart choice there. May as well just give up the Nexus for now.
A good save. Every probe counts here. Ooh, one Oracle does go down to those infested Terrans. But already SOS expanding again to that 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock base in the top corner. He's seen this coming.
Yeah. He's got to keep expanding to these corners as well. It's very, very important to do because the Broodlord army moves so slowly. Now, another huge reinforcement here, trying to hit this base. He's finally worked his way through all the spine crawlers, and it looks like he might be able to kill a base here as well.
Absolutely tit for tat here as we go into the 23rd minute of our game on Acropolis. A nice fungal growth. They're going to pick off a couple of Zealots, but I think there's enough DPS here that even if he sacrifices this army, it's definitely going to go down. There it is. It does go down to double Neuroparasite on those two Immortals who are going to turn traitor and start shelling away at those Zealots.
Yeah, hitting each other here as well. Now, that was a great move by SOS, and it is a base for a base, but we should mention that what RagnaroK used to kill the base was long-range units and spells, whereas what SOS used to kill the base, it was actual units. So when you look at the actual value on each side, RagnaroK did a little bit better in that trade.
How many minerals does it cost to cast Neuroparasite, Artosis?
None at all?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the longer this game goes on, the more we're going to see those spellcasting units. And it looks like SOS doesn't have a whole lot of spellcasting units on the map right now. How's his High Templar count? Not great, from what I understand.
I'm not sure exactly how many he has, but that's an extremely important unit for him right now. He needs those side storms. He has 8. So, I mean, that's a blanket of storms, but... You know, is he going to gain as much value as this game goes on against 26 spellcasters with just 8?
Those infestors have been on the map this entire game. They came out so early. 20 of them came on the map, if you recall, 10 minutes ago. They're going to be at full energy all the time.
Pretty much.
And if those High Templars get picked off very quickly, then it's going to take a long time for their energy to rebuild. No matter how quickly they get warped in.
And look here again, right? He's utilizing that energy. He has so much. He has so many infestors. He doesn't throw down everything, but he throws down enough to kill the base. So right now, what monetarily did RagnaroK lose here?
Well, hopefully not these Broodlords. They've got to evacuate the area quite quickly here. We see SOS's army moving forward here. Some nice storms going down on some of those Burrowed Infestors. A couple Infestors going to get picked off, with the Broodlords slowly retreating. And, a nice fungal going down, but SOS is going to drive this away. And, oh no, those Broodlords still under siege, Artosis.
Yeah, he is trying his best to knock out as much of this army as possible. So many Neurals, so many fungals going down. Oh my God, just tentacles everywhere right now.
SOS's army half good and half evil. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Protoss Hyde over here. A lot of Blink Stalkers coming in here, going to get underneath the Corruptors, but the Corruptor count slowly going down. And as those Corruptors disappear, the carriers would be getting more valuable. Unfortunately, they're also disappearing, and RagnaroK pushing forward.
The fungals going down on these Stalkers, brutal as well. It felt like we were seeing a switch up here from SOS, maybe going into gateway units to try to just knock out this army, but it looks like a lot of these very high value units are getting away.
That is a textbook definition of great positioning. Luckily, hold on just a minute. Another big fight going down. We'll talk about positioning in a minute, but Fungal's already going down. That Gateway army slowed. The Infestors not even bothering to burrow anymore. Of course, they're out of energy. So SOS going to get away with some of these Gateway units, but another costly attack that was not expensive at all for RagnaroK to pull off.
Look at this. This is his last big warp in. Lots of Archons going to be made. He has to move right now. This is the only moment he has a chance to get any damage done because the Infestors are out of energy.
That's right, the Infestors not ready to do anything now. There are still 20 of them, so a lot of infested Terrans going to go down. This base certainly going to go down as well, but is RagnaroK investing too much? These Infestors with no energy are absolutely useless. They're dead supply on the map.
Yeah, he gets the rest of the energy out there, does get a fungal down, and it eliminates a lot of this army as well. SOS, he doesn't have a bank. He's down at half supply. The only thing he can do is try to attack right now, but...
Remember when SOS had 4,000 gas in the bank?
Yeah.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Jeez. Ages ago. But yeah, SOS simply doesn't have enough gas in the tank, literally enough gas in the tank here to really push forward. I mean, this small gateway army going to go ahead and go forward, but we see more Broodlords morphing in, a huge bunch of Hydras here, fighting on creep, underneath Spore Crawlers. Some storms are missed here, but RagnaroK with twice the supply, bumping up against the supply limit, and SOS struggling to spend his money.
Yeah, this is a tough one here for SOS. It really looks like this is just about the end for him. I feel like he played a pretty good game overall, but RagnaroK was just so precise in his end game, utilizing so many Infestors that he made early on. And I mean, the value is just showing itself throughout.
Absolutely. RagnaroK planning for the long game, I think, but not making the mistake some players make of planning for the long game and then failing in those small engagements. I think sometimes players get so focused on that macro and army composition that they forget to engage properly, that they make mistakes and lose units here and there. But RagnaroK, with that big fight we saw with those infestors on the high ground, able to pull off his neurals like he needed to, hit the right fungals, and now continue to push forward, pinning SOS. Some good storms going down, though, on those Hydralisks. Charge lots moving forward, but there are so many fungals here. Those poor Stalkers.
Yeah.
And Broodlord's even shelling down as well. Look at that, Infestors wrapping around to try and neural parasite the Mothership. Come on! Oh, it doesn't matter. The Mothership goes down, as do SOS's hopes of going on to the winner's bracket. RagnaroK gonna take it 2-1.
Yeah, that was an awesome, awesome series right there. RagnaroK taking down SOS 2-1. This is tough, man. Like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, RagnaroK and SOS still contenders for BlizzCon. And now SOS has to fight from that loser match, whereas RagnaroK gets to get that shot in a ZVZ against Dark to go on in first place.
You're right, but if there is something I'm not going to bet against Artositz, it's a Jin or a Green Wings player.
That's true.
Getting knocked out of their group.
Yeah. Well, you know, SOS, I think he is favored against